Hello again and welcome everybody. My name is Jesse Benedetti and I'm coming with you again for the next installment of the Costanza Experiment. And this is a perfect day for it because Costanza Experiment is talking about doing things that you normally wouldn't do or doing things that you have gone against your entire life thinking, okay, well, this is the way I think it's supposed to go, but I'm going to do the opposite. So it's about doing the opposite of some of the things that have not worked out for us. I'm doing this experiment right now. Who knows how long it'll last, but right now it's continuing. So this is a perfect day for it because normally what I would think that I wanted to do today is not be here talking on this. But what I've realized more and more, not only is it very good for me therapeutic wise as far as talking this stuff out, but I do realize that there's maybe one person, two people that are listening to this that might get something out of this. Now, I used to think that that was a corny, cheesy thing that people used to say. If I can just reach one person, if I could just do this, I could do that. And I would just kind of blow that in the wind and go from there. But I realized that it is a very valuable thing. So if I can reach one person, because the reason I've gotten to where I am is because I was reached by one person, right? And then maybe another person and another person. There's no end to the experiment. There's no end to the motivation, and there's no end to the journey. So that's what we're here to do, is try to see how we can make this journey better. Now, one of the things that, speaking of motivation, that I want to talk about a little bit today, and one of my members reminded me of this today, is that understanding something about motivation. Motivation is good to get you to the point of taking action. But once you've gotten involved in that action, if you have not planned ahead of time, or if you're not sure of how to plan ahead of time, or if you've left any stone unturned, then you're going to fail on that journey. So people say this all the time: I need somebody that's going to motivate me. I need somebody that's going to motivate me. I like this person. I like this coach. I like this whatever because they motivate me. Well, that's good. That's to a certain degree, that's great. That gets you to a certain starting point. But then you have to be able to make sure that there's something that fulfills the rest of that. The motivation is good. So there's a thing. It's because I work with fitness and health, and I've been doing health and fitness for a long, long time. There's something a lot of people need to realize that I didn't realize for a long time, is that we just don't have it. We just don't have it all put together yet, because we're always ever changing. We're always growing. We're always evolving. That's if you're lucky, right? We're not staying in the same place the entire time. And in that case, you have to always continue learning about yourself and what yourself needs. The version of myself right now is different than the 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago version of myself. So I've had to keep up that with that movement and that learning and that experience and going from there. What I wanted to explain today, just briefly, it's a hodgepodge because it's a mixture of confusing things, and that's what we're looking to do today. But the one thing I've been seeing a lot of people is that the motivation dies off because the why isn't strong enough. Now, these are all cliche things that we hear all the time. If your why is not strong enough, then you're never going to get to the next place. And it's not about the destination, it's a journey, and blah, 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 all that kind of good stuff. But at the end of the day, is you have to understand, you have to have the right reasons, or the effort that you're putting forth won't be strong enough, and you're going to just fail. All right. So that's what happens. We are now in March. By this point, 90% of the people have given up on their New Year's goals, if they even had them, if they were even realistic. It's just one of those things. Every year I do this. I want to lose weight. I want to get healthy. I'm going to tell you some hard truth, hard facts. If your number one objective, and I'm telling you this from experience because I've failed at this numerous times, if your number one objective for working out and eating nutritiously is to get skinny or lean or lose weight, if that's your number one objective, is something aesthetic, then you will fail. I'm telling you right now, you will fail. Now, you may be one of these people that has just come off of a great nutrition plan, a great smoothie, juice cleanse, diet that's been awesome, and you've been doing it and rocking it out for a good 6 months, 9 months, 2 years, something like that. It will not be sustainable. I just saw another scrolling in the Facebook, saw another advertisement for a 21-day smoothie shake challenge. They showed the before, they showed the after. What they never show is the 1 year after, the 3 years after. It reminds me of the show The Biggest Loser, right? So do you remember that show? If you haven't, just real quick, it takes very, very morbidly obese people and it runs them through a horrible, horrible boot camp style training for multiple hours a day, and with chefs on hand to fix them what they're supposed to be, complete deprivation. And it's this shock to the system, and people lose hundreds of pounds. Now, if you've ever done a follow-up on all of those winners, there's not one person that still looks like what they did before. And a large majority of them have not only gained the weight back, but gained it more, because you're not living a sustainable lifestyle. When I talk about working out every day, I'm not saying it so you can get the most shredded, ripped look ever, which is what I used to think. And that's what I used to try to preach. I'm not saying when you eat nutritiously that you should do it to get the most shredded look ever. But that's what I used to think. And that's what I used to preach. That's what I used to do. That's what I used to think at even at the very beginning of me doing this online stuff. That's one of the taglines that I was trying to catch people with, is I wanted you to know that if you did this, because I know if you spend 2 months, 3 months, if you start building these habits up, these habits will eventually roll over into good discipline, and you will eventually. But that's what happens, and that's what I've learned on the back end of all these tens of thousands of dollars that I've spent on trying to learn how to do this advertising online. And it's just up against a bunch of media influencers, social media influencers. There's a bunch of people that are just selling you a bunch of bad shit, right? And I typically do not like to bash the people that are within the same space, the same environment that I am, like in fitness. I don't want to do that. I learned a long time ago in my dance world that you should never bash the people that you are doing the same business in the same field as you, because then you're bashing the field. But I don't see these social media influencers as people that are in the same field. I see them as more of a con game. I see them as more of a get rich scheme, and it works for some people, and it does. You're feeding into people's fears, and you're taking advantage of those fears instead of trying to provide knowledge. Why? It's all because of us. It's our own fault. Why do we fall prey to this? Is because it's our own fault. Because that's what we want. We want the quick fix. We want the Band-Aid that's on some gashing wound. We want all of that. So that's what we're trying to do. They're just providing us what we're asking for, and then we get upset because we think, oh, no diet works for me. This doesn't work for me. I'll tell you a quick little. Remember, this is hodgepodge, so it's all over the place. I just found out recently, and they're still doing the preliminary work on it, that I am possibly have hypothyroidism, right? So hypothyroidism is the opposite of what people want. Hyper is a fast metabolism, lose weight quickly. I can eat everything I want to. Hypo is the opposite of that. It is, and it helps explain a lot of things in my life right now. But it is fatigue, extreme exhaustion, bouts of depression, hard to lose weight, slower heart rate, and it can lead to a bunch of other things if not taken care of. It can take many years before it's seen, especially in my life, where I've been going through one medical procedure after another for the past decade, and then some change. So it's not one of those things that just pops out. But now that I've been working on 3 months ago, started getting my testosterone checked and getting it regulated a little bit better, because throughout all the medical procedures, throughout all the cancer and the chemos and stuff like that, it messes with your hormones. It messes with your testosterone. My testosterone was very low. My estrogen was very high. So we've kind of reversed that now. Now that things are getting better, we have a consistency with a lot of things, and they're able to now see that my thyroid is not working so well. So we're gonna start on some thyroid medicine, and we're gonna see if that helps. So it is. I know that there's at least one person out there that takes my classes that has Hashimoto's. which is interchangeably used with hypothyroidism. And so it's the same idea as if you've ever heard one or the other. It's just hard. It's just one of those things that makes things harder in your life. So I noticed this a little bit more last year and this year, that it's been harder for me to lose weight, my metabolism that's slowing down. And we all do this. We blame it on our age. We blame it on, a lot of things. I used to think that I was just working out too much, or I'm doing this, but I'm doing that. But I'm more tired than I've ever been. And I'm going through all of these things. So, but it's okay. You know why though? Again, hodgepodge. So you know why that we were able to nail it down to one thing is because the other things in my life are now finally consistent. I'm eating consistently good food, no processed food except for 2 protein shakes a day. Everything else is whole food, clean food. I am 100% knowing what's going on with my calories, with my macros, everything that's involved in my body. I'm also not drinking any alcohol. I'm out in the sun a little bit more. A lot of things are very consistent. So it was now time to try to shed some light on this. And that's what we have to understand, is that we can't diagnose one problem until we've eliminated other problems. But what do? We're so quick to fix things that we want to say, well, I've got this and I've got this. And now with WebMD and everything that's online, you can self-diagnose and self-medicate and self-everything. You don't even need anybody to tell you anything because you have it told to you. I'm just, just for heads up, these were all medical professionals that told me this stuff. I didn't tell myself this stuff. All right. So, but what I'm saying, all of these things I'm telling you right now are all part of the Costanza experiment, because they're not things I would normally tell people. I don't think that people are interested in my life, right? So this may or may not be true, but we all have things. That's why I think that we all have crosses to bear. We all have things to go through. I deal with things that you don't have to deal with. You deal with things that I don't have to deal with. It doesn't matter. It's not a comparison. We're not in a competition. If we can see that we're all on the same track together, we're going to accomplish a lot more. And that's why I wanted to talk today, is just to put it out there, because I didn't want to talk today. I didn't want to talk about myself today. I didn't want to talk about all these things that are going on in my personal life today. But you know what? One thing that really pushed me over the limit, or pushed me over the line, why I'm talking to you about it today, is because one thing stuck out in my mind, is I don't think that anybody cares, right? It's not a bad thing. I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I'm not playing victim. I'm saying that we are all so busy in our life. I just don't think anybody cares. And I also think that we all have our own issues to deal with. So why would I burden somebody else with my issues when they've got their own issues? That's why, because I know that you feel like this. And how do I know this? Because this is how everybody feels. When you're going through something, you all think that you're going through it alone. And I'm including myself. We all think that we're going through it alone. No matter what you think, you're not going through it alone. There may be some people out there that you don't know that are there for you, that are there for you. You have a lot of people that will tell you that they're there for you, but when the shit gets real, who's really there for you? Who's been there for you? Those are the people that you don't even know that exist, right? So I just wanted to hop on today and just explain what's going on in my life, what's happening with you in your life. Reach out to me if you want, if you need any help, if you want classes. Remember something, and this took me a long time. That's why it took me a long time in this specific space doing this. It took me a long time to understand the importance of working out and fitness. It took me a long time to realize the importance of nutrition. Mine was always based off of a goal: dancing, competing, fitness, something athletic. I mean, it was always based on, if I wanted to get in best shape of my life, I needed to have a goal, find a goal. And not only just find a goal, but find a goal that was interesting to me. That makes it even harder. Find a goal that I haven't tried before, even harder. We all go through stuff. We all have choices. We all have all these things that we hear every single day, but you're not alone. I'm going to say it again. You are not alone. All right. This isn't one of those things where people post on social media. I don't know who needs to hear this today. We all need to hear this every single day. That's why I say a lot of the same stuff. If you've taken class with me for any amount of time, you hear me say a lot of the same stuff over and over and over and over again. It's not because I can't read and think of new stuff or come up with new ideas or that I'm limited on what I know. It's because we need to hear the same stuff over and over again, because how you hear it today will be different than how you hear it tomorrow. And that will be different than how you hear it next week, because you're going to go through life experiences, through life, through fitness, through nutrition, and you're going to be at different places every time you hear it. So you're going to want to hear it differently. It's been the same thing throughout my whole life and my career. When I was in dancing, we were told how to do some Latin motion, right? How to work on moving your hips through rumba, through cha-cha, through swing, through all these other dances. And it took me a long time to understand. And then suddenly one day, all the stars had aligned, and it wasn't the stars that aligning. I had finally spent enough time. I was finally ready to hear the message. I was finally educated enough to know what I was listening to. I was finally ready to receive what I was being given. Some coach told me the same thing I've heard 1,000 times, and a light bulb went off and it clicked. I understood it so much better. I understood all of that so much better. And that's the same thing with you, your fitness and nutrition. You're going to hear a lot of the same stuff. I promise you though, if you don't have the right reasons for what you're doing, you're going to find more than enough reasons to not do it. All right. So you only need one reason to do something, one strong reason. That one strong reason has to be stronger than every other bad reason. Now, does that mean you're going to have an off day? You're going to have an off day. You're going to have a day where you don't feel like doing anything. You're going to have a day that you're tired. But guess what? You're going to always be tired. You're always going to have these things that you're going to feel that you don't want to do something. But that's where we have to figure out what's more important today. What's more important today? We don't need to sit around and feel sorry for ourselves. We don't need to sit around and complain. We don't need to sit around and apologize to other people for our shortcomings. If you don't do something today, you're the only one missing out. That's the same thing with me. That's why I don't go around telling people the excuses of why I didn't work out one day or why I ate something different one day. Why? Don't feel guilty. This is your life. You don't need other people's approval for what you did. If you want to discuss what's happening in your life, discuss it. But don't use that as a reason of why you're doing this and why this isn't going right. Because I promise you, and if I've seen it, I've heard it, I've said it, there is somebody else right now in the world, maybe even close to you, that's going through something worse than you're going through, and they're taking advantage of it more than you're taking advantage of the situation right now. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention. I just wanted to speak just openly, because that's what the Costanza experiment is. Sometimes we just don't have anything to say, but you put it out there, the stars will align, it will bring good things to you and all the other jibber jabber that people want to say. And sometimes it's going to be received well, sometimes it's not. Sometimes people don't want to hear it, sometimes they do. It's just going to be put out there over and over again. If you want help with your fitness, your nutrition, you need somebody to talk to, you feel alone on anything, it doesn't matter what the reason is. If you want to reach out, reach out. If it's just to say, hey, what's up? Reach out. That's fine. That's what I'm here for, is to help you, help me, and to help me help myself. Because as we're doing all of this, it's all going to be mutually beneficial. We're all going to get something from this. All right. So have a good rest of your day. Reach out if you want to. If not, I'll look forward to seeing you again on the next Costanza experiment. Peace out.